Hey there everyone, Luke here. Now before I start the chapter review this week, just want to say we had a massive haul of videos last week on Control Chaos, and obviously yesterday me and Party Jams, we wrapped up the Dr. Stone tier list on the members of the Kingdom of Science, so go and check that out. And pretty soon me and Ann Arbor over on Control Chaos will be doing a video on Rue Dragon because that series is back, obviously. So yeah, look forward to that. Those are the announcements that I'm waiting to get out of the way. But for now, let's talk about the chapter. Okay, so this will be chapter 217 titled Hiyofumi's Choice. Now, when I first saw that chapter before, like, oh my word, are we still going to be with Hiyofumi, Koricho, and Futaba not moving back to Alpha? But no. It's a reference to something else that was actually brought up earlier on in the series when Futaba was dealing with Hiyofumi and Alpha. But we'll get into that when we'll get into it. But for now, we need to talk about the colour page because we get another colour page this week, and it shows Keigo, Shinzo, and Nano basically playing the. Don't really want to say the name because obviously we can't say the name, but it's a certain device that you can play handheld and on your TV. I think its name is Swatch. That's it. It's the Swatch. Yeah. But obviously people know what that is based on what I said here. And pretty cool that we have she on there with Alpha just trying to guide in there. So it's pretty nice colour page. But yeah, moving on, we pick up from the end of the last chapter where we have Futaba dealing with Kazu and Ni, and she being like, "Oh, what's wrong with you two?" And Hiyofumi and Koricho come in and just like, "Alpha is sick, Alpha is sick, Alpha is sick. Look at this, Futaba. Look at this, Futaba." Like, and the panic still is escalating because we have Hiyofumi going, "Oh my gosh, oh 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 my gosh!" Ah! And then we have Koricho being like, "We have to get out right now. Smooth his head, smooth his ball. Give him cold. And they're probably saying this at like a thousand words, and Futaba is just there in the background like, can you two just calm down already, before she ends up bumping them on their head. We get one bump for Hiyofumi, but then we get like from Koricho. It's just like, okay, no panic, no panicked frailing while on a mission here, because we got to do a task and with effective precisioners and then move on to the next. And at this point, Hiyofumi and Koricho is like, yeah, we're sorry about that. We're sorry about that. Then we have Ni being like, oh yeah. She's frightening, but it doesn't matter at this point because now I can use my explosion to break it. And this is where we have Futaba, Koricho, and Hiyofumi being like, "Wait, what? What did he say? You can use your explosion to break it." But as Ni is trying to use the explosion to break, yeah, it is Ni. Yeah, it is Ni because the point is, yeah. So it is Ni. Yeah, Isney trying to use explosion to break it, but we then have Koricho trying to use Naraku to basically, obviously, stop the blooming of Ni. But even then, that is pretty ineffective. Yeah, it's still a bit ineffective because we have creatures saying here, "Alright, unexpected barrage of explosions. That's not a bad ability. To think that someone who could rupture a Futaba dojo or make my Naruku complain like this." So yeah, it's easy to see that even Ni's explosion was able to, even Koricho took pride in this new ability that he created. Even then, he was like, "Oh my god, this is even now with my ability." This explosion is still something that's capable of rupturing that to some degree. So I guess now is a good time as any to say, like, yeah, Asa might actually have trained himself now, so it's going to be pretty crazy when we get to that final battle with him. Now we do get the explanation of why this is because they took fragments from Ree's stolen heart. Yeah, no, they took fragments from Ree's power that was stolen from her cub, so it does make sense why why Nee's exposure would be on the same level as Koricho's ability if they're from like the same power source here. As Futaba is deciding that how do we take them out, Koricho says this is your choice, Hiyofumi, and we'll abide by your decision. And Hiyofumi's just like, excuse me, what? Why are you putting me under this level of pressure here? Before they go on to explain that, oh no, because not only do they have our mother's remains, they also have our father's remains. So basically, Hiyofumi, they have your grandparents' remains here, and one of our major goals is destroying Asa. So that we can retrieve those remains. That's why there isn't a big push to finish them here and now. Without that imperative, a Yozakura should defer to the thoughts and choices of the head of the family. Consider this question your final exam. You gained a new power and faced off against the enemy. As the future head of the family, you have grown a lot. Okay, I think okay. Oh no! Because in the last chapter, Hiyofumi did say that she was pretty much going to be the head of the family, even though there is going to be another head of the family. Because we know that Hiyofumi has a blooming, so she can't be like the official head of the family, but she's going to be kind of like what Creature is like the surrogate head of the family. So he's basically asking her that. This is what we can decide here. We either capture these two or we let them go. And okay, it wasn't with Futaba, it was with Mutsumi that when they had that interview, the true duty of the head of the family is to make a difficult choice here of just what is going to happen and how the consequences of that going to impact future events. Before and Hiyofumi gets that, she's like, I get that. This is from Mama's interview from that day, but. She basically asks Koricho and Futaba, like, yeah, can I have a few days to pick? How many days do I pick? And Koricho's just like, yeah, well, our hands are getting tired here, and I really hope he picks sooner than that. And it's just driving her a little bit insane here of just being like, okay, what do I do here? Do I let them go, or do we capture them? Like, oh, but I've made friends with the cat lady, or okay, I trust my gut here. Cat lady, you can go, but don't forget one thing. I'm gonna come and rescue you from Asa. You rescued me once, I won't ever forget that. And this is where Nee is just like, oh, it seems like we owe you a favour. We owe you a favour for what you're doing here because you're allowing us to get away, and you're allowing us to get away with your grandmother's heart here. So, not that we have any intention of paying you back, but for now we are grateful for what you have done for us. And whether or not this leads to disastrous consequences down the line or leads to something beneficial, that remains to be seen at this moment in time. And with that, Nee and Kazu make their escape back to Asa. Now, in terms of what they're actually going to do with the hearts, that remains anyone's guess. Like whether they're not going to extract fragments of them, make more clone siblings, that asking if Blooming's too, that remains to be seen. But for now, they have escaped, and the day and Creature says the day we settle up accounts isn't that far off. So and this is where they remind like, oh wait, Alpha is sick, so now can we go home and look after him? Before Futaba reminds Hiyofumi like, yeah, you better have not fudged up the decision because of this. We can't keep Leviathan waiting. Let's sprint to the beach. And if you want to be faster, Hiyofumi, I'll carry. This is what Koricho was saying. But it's best that they contact Alpha Squad and update them on what has actually happened here. So now we cut over to Alpha's area with his aunts and uncles as he is mentally and physically sick at this moment, possibly again from bad Alpha trying to escape. They go on and say, we understood not just Moses' research data, but data on Hiyofumi's blooming too. That's great. You finally figured that out. Take care on your way home. And yeah, Alfred's doing just fine. It's only a little cough. And this half of the chapter, because the first half was just focusing on the aftermath of everything that's just happened here, this chapter is heavy in exposition, so it's going to be a while before we get through that. But we have Keigo in a nurse's outfit here, just being like, oh, don't you worry about a thing. Hot Nurse Keigo will take good care of you. and Nano reminds me like, Keigo, that's not good. That's not good for yourself in a number of ways here. And Shion is just reading the temperature of Alpha, reading like 102.5. I guess that's Fahrenheit, but for me that would be like probably probably in like the 70s. It's still very high. It's still very high. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know the exact calculations for that. So maybe Polygens might be able to give me an exact count for that, whether it's degrees or Celsius. But anyway, Keigo's just like, oh, what, me, a bad influence? Everyone says I'm like everyone says I'm like a panicker, bringing health and joy to others. It doesn't matter what they are, and I love Shion's response to this. It's like, okay, Keigo, you know you're being a little bit insane here, so it's time for your medicine. Let's get it right in your brain. And you just see Keigo just being there like, oh, why did you do that? You mean it? As we see Shion literally stomping on him. Vex, another character that you probably want to be stomped on by. I had to bring that up. And I'm sure Fex has obviously seen this when they read the chapter. I'm sure they have. If not, they're gonna pretty soon find that out. But yeah, Shion goes on and says, my analysis and Doc's now medicine have Alpha totally covered. You can take your cosplay nurse bot and get lost here. Before we have Keigo say, oh, suddenly my body feels all warm and dry and fuzzy. What drug did you give me? And Shion just starts to get like really irritated by him by saying, no, I've grabbed a random bottle with my stretchy pink stuff in it. And now it's just like, oh wait, that was one that was still in Venom. The defender went, oh well, it's just Keigo. We can say it was from some experimental data. And now it's basically now saying like, okay, now tell me how you actually feel. And we have Shinzo saying like, you should have stuck. You should have buttoned. Oh no. Wait. Shinzo is getting embarrassed by seeing Shion because Shion just has like the lab coat on, no top on, so her breasts are exposed, and Shinzo is just like, yeah, you should have kept it buttoned up here, like, because he's obviously Shinzo is kind of a prude, if we're being honest here. But one thing Shion brings up is, where is Ayaka and I? And we see both of them just patrolling the academy since the Fiven's out, because he's been the ride for Hugh Fumi's squad, which begs the question: if Leviathan, who's this big giant shark, is able to carry people, like, can he even eat at this point? I mean, I guess he can, because Creature was offering up Tayo as a snack to him, but seriously, yeah, that's just gonna, I guess he was modified. Well, he's a big giant shark. He's bigger than the average shark, so I guess he can do both. But anyway, it's nice that we actually finally get noticed that, yeah, I and Ayaka are in the academy at this point, so maybe, just maybe, we might get some screen time with them with this little portion with Alpha. So I hope we get just as much with Alpha as we did with Hiyofumi, and like I said, hopefully with I and Ayaka being here, we might actually get more different with them. And I'm still waiting on the Ayaka and Shinzo ship, but yeah, he mentions that, Shinzo mentions that since I'm the only one here, since I'm the oldest one here, I have to do my best. But of course, he's freaking out about having to take that responsibility. And it turns out that he's the one that's actually sick at this point. So he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go to bed right now. And it seems to be that because I have the most responsibility, but you've been here longer than I have, because I had to do that whole wedding situation. So and obviously I'm still mentally tired from that. Before he goes on and says his demands on what he wants, which is Nano's Yasu ginger tea with whipped cream and extra sugar. Sounds nice. No, it's Nano. It doesn't sound nice at all. Then, if he could have someone to talk to him gently at about 40 decibels, he should be able to relax and fall asleep. Also, he wants gentle pats on the head at a rate of approximately 20 a minute. And we have Keigo saying like, wow, wow, what, seriously, dude, picky much? Which, Keigo, you have no right to be talking about someone being picky. So we also get here just Shinzo going on just a rant about what he's had to put up with. Like I said before, he was away from everyone while he was doing the wedding, and he wants to get pampered sometimes because they've obviously spent 5 years apart. It's the first time that in these 5 years that they've actually been able to sort of relax as a family and do stuff that they normally did before the time skip. And he's like, and now I'm having to be sick, so come on, can't you guys humour me once and just let me be the one that gets pampered for once? I never get to be the pampering. And you, while I was doing that whole wedding thing, you guys were here being reunited with everyone while I'd take the longest. I even had to say to you guys, don't come rescue me. And at this point, Keigo and Shion are just like, okay, fine, we'll be the lap pillow for you. We'll use your arms, and we have Shinzo basically complaining and nitpicking them of arms being so skinny, squishy too, and are they both eating enough? And they're just like, how rude can you be? Before we have them bringing in Nano's Yazu ginger tea that he wanted so badly. Before we have Keigo basically, come on, you know you want it, you gotta beg your master for it. And Shinzo's like, oh, that was a quick change in attitude. Before Nano reminds them, like, if you two get too close, you might catch it too, before they end up getting sick. Now, this is something that confuses me, because wasn't that drug that Nano, the one that was meant to not have the Yozakuras be catching colds, wasn't that meant to like basically nullify things? Like wasn't that bleh. Yeah. Okay, get my thoughts together. So, remember before the time skip where we had that whole horror theme where Nano had that drug in his hand, and it was like, okay, this is gonna combat the common cold, but it's gonna hurt so hard that you will faint before you've even had a chance to scream. So I assumed that this was meant to be so that they could never get the cold again, but I guess it didn't, or I guess it wore off after a while. I guess they're in need for a booster jab from Nano, which nobody wants a booster jab. And now that Nano's got it, does that mean he has to have it now? But as we'll see later on in the chapter, it does seem that this was just a ploy to get as part of a plan to get the first stage of Alpha's blooming complete, because you see them later on in the chapter completely fine. So I don't know whether they were faking it or whether they were legitimate in this case. But anyway, they go on and say, weird, us Yozakuras aren't usually susceptible to the common cold. Do you wanna make a shot? Okay, yeah, they're not normally they're not normally susceptible to the common cold, so I guess they are sick, or like I said, it's probably a case of like them just pretending so that they can get Alpha's blooming fully going now. But yeah, we see that Koricho, Fruit Spot are on their way back, and they shouldn't call Taira Mutsumi because they'd be panicking in the same way that Hifumi and Koricho were, which is true. But then as they all fall asleep for a break, we have Alpha waking up here, and we have him basically sleepwalking, because it does seem like he is sleepwalking, or basically days walking, like when you're sick and you're just delirious and you don't know any better. As we have Nano pretends to be asleep before he wakes up, as he says, while we're all gaming, I noticed that Alpha had something on his mind. He sneakily made use of the equipment I had in my room to engage a virus and let it loose on it. He made sure it was aimed squarely at antibodies only we Yozakuras have. Therefore, he only repurposed an experiment batch I had on hand. It's still impressive how quickly he managed it. So I guess his ability is blooming is going to be something like accounting or adapting, something to do with adapting to certain situations and working around it. Before he goes on and says he wanted to get some time away from us that badly, and we know exactly why. Everything's going according to plan. Okay, everyone, phase 1 of Alpha's blooming mission is complete. Moving on to phase 2, as we see all of them looking fine enough. But so I guess Nano healed them in record time, or like I said, they were probably faking it in some cases. But yeah, that's where the chapter ends. So like I said, it's a chapter of mainly 2 parts. The first part wrapping up the little story arc with Alpha, with Hiyofumi, Kuricho, and Futaba. Now moving into Alpha's stage, which, like I said, this part of the story of Hiyofumi that went on for quite a while. Went on for like about 10 plus chapters, so I'm expecting 10 plus chapters with the alpha stuff. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we get that, or maybe close to 10. Like, not as long, but definitely a sizable chunk. Now, like I said, the question is like, what is Alpha's blooming gonna be? Because, like I said, I think it's gonna be something to do with bad Alpha, or something to do with like virus control, something like. It's going to be something technical, because that's what Alpha's whole thing is. Like, Hiyofumi is like more of like the offensive. I feel like Alpha's going to be more of the defensive, which would complement each other. Like, Hiyofumi being the sword, Alpha being the shield. But we'll just have to wait and see on that, and like what is blooming is actually going to come out, and looking like whether it is going to be bad Alpha, but being able to be fully controlled, or it's going to be something completely different. But anyway, guys, what did you think of this chapter? Let me know. Like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. And this will be Lasherluke signing off. Later, guys.